My neighbor lady brought me black-bone chicken soup every single week. I hated how greasy it was, so I just poured it in the stray cat's bowl. 3 months later, the scrawny little cat started blowing up in size, and its fur was slowly turning snow white. The neighbors started gossiping like crazy. At first, I didn't think much of it. Seemed normal enough. But just 6 months in, this thing was strong enough to dent my steel security door. A year later, it had hit a full 300 pounds. That's when I panicked and called the cops. When the animal expert laid eyes on it, the color drained from his face instantly. This is a purebred white tiger, thought to be extinct for 91 years. What did you do? I'd found this stray a year earlier and named it Soup Scraps, because it only ever ate the soup and meat bits the neighbor lady brought over. One day, someone knocked on my door. When I opened it, it was my downstairs neighbor Auntie Chin, all smiles, holding a big thermos. This wave of chicken soup smell hit me. Xiaojiang just made black-bone chicken soup. Drink it while it's hot. I stared at the thermos. Oh no, not again. Auntie Chin, thanks, but I really don't need it. Next thing I know, she's shoving it into my hands. What do you mean you don't need it? You're living alone. You can't just survive on takeout. Auntie put all the good stuff in there for you. I had no choice but to take it. Make sure you finish it. I'll come grab the thermos tomorrow. She said that, turned around satisfied, and left. I closed the door, set the thermos on the table, and opened the lid. A thick layer of yellow grease was floating right on top. My stomach turned. I grabbed the thermos and headed to the balcony. There was an old bowl in the corner. A scrawny little orange cat was curled up next to it. It heard me and looked up, so I poured the soup in. Dark chicken chunks and yellow oil. The bowl filled up fast. The cat stood up and sniffed carefully. Then it started eating, little by little. After that, Auntie Chin started showing up 3 times a week. This went on for 2 straight months. I tried saying no countless times. I told her my stomach couldn't handle greasy food, but Auntie Chin insisted black-bone chicken was actually great for digestion. I eventually gave up arguing, but here's the weird part. The cat wasn't growing at all. 2 months of high-nutrition soup and it was still skin and bones, not gaining a pound. Then 3 months passed and everything changed. Its body started growing completely out of control. No longer that little orange cat. Its frame was stretching out. Legs got thick and powerful. The orange fur started shedding in massive patches. The new fur was pure white, just a few orange stripes left on its back. And the way it moved, it just launched itself onto the balcony railing like it was nothing. Didn't look like a cat at all, more like a small leopard. Even its voice had nothing in common with a normal cat meow. From that day on, I started watching it closely. It was eating more and more. Before, 1 full thermos would last it a whole day. Now it finished that in 1 sitting, then sprawled out and slept, then paced back and forth across the tiny balcony. Neighbors started talking. Xiaojiang, what are you keeping on that balcony? It's growing so fast. I just mumbled, just a stray I picked up. That's no normal breed. What are you feeding that thing? I just smiled and said nothing. Like I could tell them it grew up on black-bone chicken soup. Today, Auntie Chin showed up again with her thermos. Xiaojiang, open up. I steeled myself and opened the door, making one last attempt. Auntie Chin, I've genuinely had a stomach bug lately. I really can't drink it. Auntie Chin's smile tightened. Her eyes slipped past my shoulder, trying to peek inside. That's exactly why you need it. Good for your stomach. Be good now. Would Auntie ever hurt you? She shoved the thermos into my hands anyway. The smell coming off it was heavier than ever. More than just chicken soup. There was something else in there. I closed the door. Then a massive crash came from the balcony. When I ran over, the wooden scratching post I'd set up for Soup Scraps was split clean in half, 1 swipe. It was standing on the wreckage, looking back at me. Its eyes had turned ice blue. The last bit of orange on its back was gone. Over a meter long, pure muscle. This was absolutely not a cat. The thermos nearly slipped right out of my hands. What on earth had I been raising? And then, half a year later, things were completely out of control. When it stretched out in the living room, I had to turn sideways just to squeeze between it and the couch. It had claimed my living room as its territory, my heavy-duty leather couch, covered in deep claw marks. But the worst part was the security door. One morning I stepped out to toss the trash. It thought I was locking it in, got anxious, and followed right behind me. The second I went to close the door, it body slammed it. The heavy steel door buckled outward. I started worrying it might hurt me, but thankfully it was still pretty gentle with me. It would rub its massive head against my legs, rumbling out this deep tractor engine purr. Then the downstairs neighbors started filing complaints, something about a wild beast roaring in my unit at night. The ceiling kept thudding like something huge was moving around. Building management called me 3 times. I just kept apologizing, and to make it worse, Auntie Chin was still sending soup. Now she was bringing the biggest thermos size. Xiaojiang, you've been looking rough lately. Auntie threw in some extras for you. I could smell that raw, metallic stench. My hands were shaking. I couldn't bring myself to feed it. But if I didn't feed it, it got restless, headbutting the walls, ripping the couch apart with its claws. So I had no choice but to grit my teeth and pour that funky soup into its bowl. It ate every last drop. One day I came home from work. It walked up and stopped right in front of me, then opened its mouth. I saw 2 rows of teeth like daggers. It yawned. A wave of hot air blasted my face. Every drop of blood in my body went cold. This could not keep going. This apartment could not contain it anymore. I slowly pulled out my phone. I had to call the cops. Fingers shaking, I unlocked my screen. The call connected fast. Hi, I need to report an emergency. A calm female voice on the other end. Sir, please tell me your location and what's happening. Hi, I need to report an emergency. I'm at Unit 201, Building 12, Binjiang Garden. Got it. Can you tell me what's going on? I looked at the massive white beast in front of me. It heard my voice, tilted its enormous head, those ice blue eyes full of confusion. What was I supposed to say? That I had a 300-pound cat? That I accidentally turned a stray into a monster? But I took a deep breath. There's a large animal in my home. It's very big and it looks extremely aggressive. 2 seconds of silence. Sir, make sure you're safe. Lock yourself in a room. We're sending officers right now. I hung up and slowly backed into my bedroom. 10 minutes felt like a century. Then a knock at the door, not Auntie Chin's kind. This was sharp, rapid, and carried zero doubt. I opened my bedroom door. The beast in the living room was already on its feet, locked onto the front door. A low growl rumbled from its throat. Don't make a sound! I shot it a look, and it actually went quiet. I crept to the front door and looked through the peephole. 2 young officers were standing right outside. When I opened the door, one of them asked, "Where's the large animal you mentioned?" Before he finished, his eyes had already swept past me into the living room. Then his face froze. 2 seasoned officers, both wearing the exact same expression. The lead officer raised his radio and started calling it in.